Welcome to Heart to Heart, a program which aims to help you understand and become your loving self at KMET 1490 AM, ABC News Radio Live. I'm Dr. Mitra Rashidian. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified sexologist in full-time private practice located in Encino, California. And I'm offering you this program today along with my business partner, a very dear friend of mine and a colleague. And our history goes for 18 years of working together and everything else. Dr. Robert Jaffe, who's also a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified hypnotherapist and specializing in addictions. Welcome, Dr. Jaffe.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
My pleasure, as always.
Thank you. So we are here today. We have an announcement.
Yes.
And the announcement is that this is going to be our final show.
For now.
Well, everything is for now.
Yes.
Right, but we don't have any plan on doing it in the future, although you never know.
You never know.
But we have enjoyed so much being with you and sharing with you some of our thoughts and ideas and knowledge. We really hope that you've taken in some of it and that it's helped you. That was our goal, and we hope we've met it to some extent.
Exactly.
And of course, if you would like to reach out to us at any time, feel free. All you have to do is Google us at Heart to Heart, HeartToHeart. Counseling, Heart to Heart Counseling. And you can email us, you can find us and ask questions, anything that you'd like, we're happy to answer.
Yes, you can even Google us under our own names, so Robert Jaffe or Mitra Rashidian, and you're going to be connected to our Facebook, our YouTube. We have a Google business page, and we would love to hear from you. The aim of the programs like this is connection, and hopefully that through that connection, we have given you something to, that you can take with you and remember and cherish it and use it. The fact that, you have spent the time listening to our programs has been, such a high honor. And we know that many of you have listened, some of you have listened, partially, and some have introduced our program to others. So we appreciate every single contribution that we have received from everybody, including KMET itself. And we want to express our heartfelt thanks to everybody.
Absolutely. And the person who helped us with this show and reached out to us and was very clear that he was there for us. His name is Bill.
Yes.
And we want to thank you, Bill, for all of your assistance and your help and your loving support. We really appreciate you. So thank you.
Yes. And on a special note, I'd like to thank Jesse.
And Jesse as well,
for his being there, on the show, off the show, randomly, anytime I send him a text,
Mm-hmm.
So, and everything that he has helped us with technical, insights, recommendations, suggestions. And Jesse, you just have been simply said awesome. I mean, I can't find another word for it. And really, thank you from here. And I really appreciate everything that collectively KMET has brought to us, to our lives, to our practice, and all the connections that we made through KMET. They're always going to be valued, cherished, and remembered, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
In particular, a special thank goes to our listeners, viewers, at any level that you have joined us. We appreciate that. Without you, this show would not have been possible at all, and we hope that you also, remember us in a good way.
Absolutely. And This is our last show, but we still have a little time on our show. So if any of you would like to reach out to us during this hour, please give us a call. It's 951-922-3532. Again, 951-922-3532. We'd love to talk to you briefly, and just let us know what you thought, or any thoughts you have about the show, or what the show has done for you. Anything you want to share, that would be wonderful.
Exactly. And I don't believe in goodbyes, but I do believe in the connection that we have made is gonna stay there, and we are always connected, and we are only an email or a phone call away. And we are out there. It's easy to find us. It's not difficult.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
So we are happy to connect to you when you reach out to us, and then we are happy to assist you in any way that meets your needs. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. So today, being our final show, I was thinking maybe we could talk a little bit more about psychotherapy.
Absolutely.
And about what psychotherapy is and what it isn't. And also what psychotherapy has done for you and for me, because we both enjoyed having some great psychotherapists ourselves.
Exactly. I mean, one rule of thumb is if you are a therapist, you must go to therapy yourself.
Well, it's a great idea. It's a great idea. And a lot of people don't practice it because once they've passed their exam, they think they've arrived.
Right.
But the truth is that we're always in the process of arriving.
Mm-hmm.
And none of us are perfect, in fact, far from it. And we all have things that we can improve on. And psychotherapy is simply a way of getting to know yourself better, as well as understanding stuck places.
Exactly.
And how to overcome the stuck places that keep showing up in your life, patterns of behavior, patterns of feelings. Yeah, feelings actually have patterns. And sometimes we don't recognize what those are or how to deal with them. But if you're in psychotherapy and the therapist is continuing to improve and grow, they can be a great assistance to you in terms of your own growth and inner development, which makes you happier. And exactly. Of course, that's the goal, right? Is to be happy as much of the time as we can. That doesn't mean that with losses we don't feel sadness, but there's a difference between feeling sad and feeling guilty or badly about yourself, guilty or shameful or negative about yourself. So sadness can be dealt with much easier than shame and guilt, and that's really that's one thing that psychotherapy can offer.
So what I have learned, and that's a very good summary about what psychotherapy is, and I'm going to even give you my more summary definition of psychotherapy, is basically making the unconscious conscious. So everything you described, it pretty much is stored in our unconscious, and our job is to become aware of what's holding us back, how we are dealing with difficult times or not so difficult times, how our perceptions, beliefs have shaped, who were the people who actually, were involved during that shaping process of our perceptions and beliefs, how our thoughts and, attitudes and related feelings were shaped and developed as a result of our life experiences. And therefore, as a result, how we behave. So behavior means how do we communicate and how do we act, right? Our actions is and communication, verbal and non-verbal, are basically part of our behaviors. That's what we call behavior.
Correct.
And majority of this process is unconscious, and without us knowing, we feel in a certain way when a situation happens, or we express a belief, or we anticipate a belief or a feeling when a situation happens, and then we believe that this is normal. Mm-hmm. But then again, that is our own individual normal, and it's not our experiences, and how we feel and believe is not the same as somebody else's, normal, right?
Right.
And that's why, we have seen that some people, when they talk each other, they say, "Why can you think that way? Mm-hmm. Why can't you see it this way? This mm-hmm. is the right way, or that's the wrong way." The reality is, even siblings don't think the same way. Mm-hmm. Couples don't think the same way. Siblings, friends don't think the same way. Staff members don't think the same way. At any capacity, not two people, they may have similarities, but they do not think the same way. They do not believe the same way. They don't, perceive the same way.
Right.
And therefore, as a result, we don't behave the same way.
Mm-hmm. So I'd like to give an example. And this is a personal example in my own life, because what I've recently been dealing with in my own psychotherapy is fear of success, which actually, up until maybe a couple of years ago, I didn't even know about or really believe. I mean, I had heard of it, but I didn't know that it was possible. I thought that fear of success is really fear of failure that's masked. But actually, fear of success is actually a real thing, and sometimes it's connected to fear of failure, and sometimes not. And part of my fear of success had to do with outdoing my father. That my father, and I love my father a lot, he's gone now, but I still love him. My father had a lot of great qualities. One of the things that my dad did was he made sure that he was in the knowledge position. He would lecture me, sometimes not negative lectures, but lecture me about what he believed about life and what he thought was right. He was trying to do the right thing. And he would do it in a way that made me feel as though I can't really disagree with him, because he seemed so certain. And one of the things that my dad liked to do was he liked to be in the one-up position with me. And so as I began to grow and learn about things that he didn't understand, he wasn't that interested in it. And when I would share something with him, he would listen, but then he would sort of play devil's advocate with me and try to poke holes in what I was saying. And so what I learned was that it's not really okay for me to outdo my dad. And that became what we call a pillar in my subconscious. It was one of the things that I just assumed was true. It's not okay to outdo my dad. And then as I grew and I became older, I started to make more money. I started to learn more things. I was in a totally different field than my dad. Things started to change, and I started to feel like I may start to be outdoing him. We just got notified that we got to take a quick break. I'm going to finish the story. Please stay with us, and we'll talk to you in a few moments.
See you back in a few minutes.
See you back.
Welcome back from our commercial break. This is Heart to Heart program at KMET 1490 AM, ABC News Radio Live. Dr. Mitra and Dr. Robert here. And for those of you who are just joining us, we have an announcement, and which is this is our last program at this round, and who knows what's going to happen in the future. We loved to have you as part of our lives here, and it's been such an honor to be at the place where you join us and and listen to our program, and we are hopeful that we have left behind a good memory about what we have offered to all of you. And we have a special thank to KMET members at any level that they have helped us, and so it's hard to say goodbye, and I don't believe in saying goodbye, so I'm not going to say goodbyes. I'm just going to say temporarily we're not going to be here for as long as that temporarily looks like, right? But it's easy for us to be located. You can find us. You can simply Google us. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Google business page, and you can simply email us at using any of these online systems, and we will be happy to hear from you and respond back to you. So we're not really gone. We're just not going to meet once a week here. Right?
We're not going anywhere. And if you would like to call us during this hour, we still have a little time left. We'd love to hear from you. It's 951-922-3532. Again, 951-922-3532. Please call and let us know if you've been listening and what you thought of the show. Positive, negative, room to improve. You got something, you didn't get something. We'd love to hear from you, no matter what.
Exactly.
So
you were going to give us an example. Oh yeah, we are talking about, the benefit of psychotherapy.
We've been talking about that, yes. And I was giving an example of something that I learned in psychotherapy, which is about fear of success. And I was talking about my father. He rests in peace. He's gone now. And he was a good father, and I loved him, and he helped me a lot. And one of the things that he did was he wanted to keep me in the child position. I think it was an unconscious thing on his part, but he made it pretty clear that he knew more than me. And I went along with him because I was the child. I believed him. I believed that he knew more than me. And even as I became an adult and I started to study philosophy and psychology, and I knew things that I knew that he didn't know, I still played the role of being in the one-down position. And then I started to realize that I did some things that were self-sabotaging. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I did that was self-sabotaging was I used to play tennis, and I loved it. And after I became an adult, I joined a tennis club, but I very rarely played. And I couldn't understand why. And I did some other things that were self-sabotaging in my practice. I didn't take notes the way I knew I should take notes. There were other things that I did, and I didn't realize it until my therapist pointed it out, that perhaps I had a fear of success, and that was actually linked to not wanting to outdo my dad. That I didn't want to become too successful, lest he feel that I was outdoing him and which would make him feel bad. And that was totally subconscious. And I never would have thought of it on my own. But since that was pointed out to me, and I've talked about it a lot in my own therapy, I've learned how to deal with that in a way where I am now able to do things that I wasn't able to do before. And sometimes when I do self-sabotage, I catch myself and I know what that's about, and I'm able to correct myself in midstream. That's an example. There are many examples, but basically today we're talking about the value of psychotherapy. And you made a very, very positive and important point, which is it's to make the subconscious conscious. We all have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind, and then we also have an unconscious mind. And the difference is the conscious mind is what most people believe is what's running them.
Exactly.
They make conscious decisions. For example, they decide to. Make a New Year's resolution. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to go 3 times a week. I'm going to get there every day at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to be gone at 8 o'clock. But I'm going to do it 3 times a week, and then they do it. They do it for a day. They do it for a week. They do it for a month. But the second month, the third month, the fourth month, not so much. Why is that? Why is that? And why do they lose motivation? And that's part of what psychotherapy is about, to help the person understand so that they can begin to counter it, so that they're not being run by subconscious thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that they don't understand that it's happening when it happens.
For me, when people lose motivation, basically is directly connected to their subconscious, right? Subconscious, may tell a person, an individual, that they have survived so far by staying in a uncomfortable but familiar environment.
Correct.
And they have managed to do that. They have managed to live that way. And if they want to get away from that uncomfortable but familiar dynamic, they may have to leave behind many things that got them to that place. And included in that is many people that they have been, interacting with, such as parents, siblings, friends. So motivation to change, therefore, can be kind of clouded by shame and guilt.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So once shame and guilt, emerges at the level of subconscious and conscious, that's where, we see sort of a, relapse in therapy. Right.
Can you give an example?
Well, I have, that's basically my experience with my clients who lose motivation, right? When we explore that, they say, we get to the point that, if I don't do what I'm doing, how am I going to make it? It is as though their dynamic is telling them, everything is set based on what they believe.
Right. Perhaps you can refer to a previous client that you may have seen years ago, and give us a little taste of what that looked like with him or her.
Okay. So actually, a client of mine last week, he sent me a text, and he sent me a text. It was like around maybe 10:30 at night, and I was about to go to bed. But what I saw in his text was so profound that I forgot about,
going to sleep
for hours. I just wake up and I just couldn't sleep anymore, actually, because I was looking at his text and I couldn't believe what he did. And I'm looking at it right now, right? So this client of mine, has been growing up with such abusive parents. He has gone through massive amount of traumatic events, separation from mother, and so many negative experiences that we don't want to have in our lives as a child, right? And miraculously, he survived, but he has had many challenges in his life. And he is at the point where, he believes, or he were at the place where he believed he was not good enough. So that's the summary of, what brought him to me. At first when he came to me, he believed that he was fine and his partner had problems. But then again, as therapy made progress, he realized that what was going on with him is that he didn't feel good enough, right? And at that time, he lost motivation. He really thought with the history that he had, with the traumatic experiences that he had, and with the life situation that he was experiencing, and the fact that he believed strongly nothing around him or nobody around him is going to change, right? And therefore he felt powerless about making change for himself. He temporarily kind of stopped.
He temporarily
stopped coming to therapy.
Oh, okay.
Right? But then again, that was, a very, very short time. Luckily, it wasn't a long time, right? And so it was at that point, before he left for a short time, that we got into the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious process, right?
And you educated him.
I educated him about exactly what was going on in his mind, that as an adult, he's not looking at his skills, he's not looking at his abilities, he's not looking at his, everything that he has learned that got him to the place that he was at the time. And he's looking at life through the lens of a child.
And he became aware of that.
And it took a long time for him to become aware of that. It took a long time, but then again, the shame was for him, how would he look at his parents as somebody who caused him harm? How could he look at his siblings as people who were kind of careless about him? Right? And that was his, emotional cord and attached to them.
Yeah.
The guilt and the shame didn't allow him to look at the contribution they had to his life, but he was strong in looking at he was not good enough, and therefore there was no motivation to move forward.
Yeah, I'd like to add, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
I'd like to add that this is, I'm not going to say it's ubiquitous that everybody struggles with this, but many, many people struggle with the idea that their parents hurt them because they love their parents and they don't want to shatter the image of the fact that their parents did things which were not helpful or even hurtful to them, because they want to keep the image of their parents as either perfect or wonderful or great, is solid, so that they take all the blame for what was done to them, and therefore they can't see their parents as perhaps loving but still flawed human beings who tried but didn't always get it right, and have the feelings attendant to that, and that becomes a big stumbling block for a lot of people, which is what I call keeping the parents on the pedestal.
Exactly. So keeping the parents on the pedestal is exactly what happens. And then one of the reasons is that, we also need to look at that not all parents, have the intention to hurt their kids.
Correct.
But they believe what they do is correct.
I think that's the majority.
Majority
of parents think they're doing the right thing.
Right. So what was striking for me about this client, and I've seen this client for 3 years now. So the text was an image that an illustration of how he finally got to his unconscious, subconscious, and where he is at today. So he called himself, he gave himself a brand name. His brand is "I'm not good enough."
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay. And then he identified what factors are there that made him feel that way.
So that sounds like a big breakthrough for him.
It was so profound. And I have to say, as a psychotherapist myself, I have to say I felt so proud of me.
Yeah.
For doing the job, the work with him, and kept him at a place where he felt safe finally, to really look at himself.
Right.
And to be able to clearly identify it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you and I were actually talking. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
And you and I were actually talking about that Carl Jung made a comment.
Yes.
Right. He said the one patient that we can't help is the patient who refuses to look at themselves.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. And blames others.
And blames others.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know that this particular patient was one of those.
Was one of them.
Yeah.
At the beginning, he was one of them.
Yeah.
But now he's not.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually looking at himself and what are his roadblocks. And now he's at the speed of going so forward fast that I told him today, okay, now I need you to slow down. Okay. Because if you go through, there is no fast process. We don't have fast process. But he's so excited that he was crying like a 2-year-old. Right.
No, I was thinking differently. I was thinking he was crying like an adult man who finally got it.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
That also.
Yeah.
I mean, I went by his description.
Right. But when you say that, the reason I said what I said is because people usually think of that as a negative. That oh, I'm crying like a 2-year-old. Like 2-year-olds are the only ones who cry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the expression, right? So he talked about how through self-attack, self-judgment, negative labeling, and all the shoulds that we use, he actually hurt himself. And those were the beliefs that he shaped about himself in his subconscious mind. So I'd like to invite you to please join us again after commercial break so we can talk more about this if you're interested. And so looking forward to see you in a short few minutes.
Please stay with us.
Welcome back from our commercial break. Dr. Bisha and Dr. Robert at Heart to Heart program. And we have an announcement that tonight, this is our last episode at KMET. And we don't say goodbye, we say so long. We say, we see you in the future. And we're not gone, basically. You can find us online, and we are always happy to respond to you, answer your questions. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Google business page. You can use our private email addresses. They're all available online. All you need to do just type our names, and we are right there for you. And we are happy to hear from you.
Yeah, type our names, or even easier, type Heart to Heart Counseling.
Heart to Heart Counseling.
Heart to Heart Counseling. Yeah, and again, welcome back. We've got about 15 minutes left, and we've been talking today about the benefits of psychotherapy, and also one of the books that we're writing, which is The Unconscious Runs the Show, right? And the subconscious is so powerful, and people sometimes, and I'm really good at this. I forget things. I forget my cell phone, I forget my keys, I forget this and that. And there's subconscious meaning to all of it. And yes, you don't have to find out what it is, but once you find out what it is, it empowers you.
Yes.
And that's what really good psychotherapy is about. It's empowering you. Many people have really great self-esteem in some areas and very low self-esteem in other areas. And they don't understand that self-esteem can be in different areas. You can feel great. I can feel great perhaps in my profession, but not so great maybe as a partner, or as a friend, or as a father. And so psychotherapy can help you understand, unravel why you feel the way you feel, and then help you to begin to use your creative powers to create a place inside of you where you're not being judgmental of yourself, and you can look at yourself honestly, and from that perspective, you can make changes. And you can't make a change when you're in denial that a change needs to be made.
Exactly.
So admitting your flaws, admitting the places where you're weak, can be a very strong strength, unless, of course, you're talking to someone who wants to belittle you or hurt you. Then it becomes something you don't want to empower that person, so you hold things in. And if you're dealing with somebody who's very competitive, and you want to share with them something you've achieved or gotten, and they try and make it belittle you, or they try and tell you that they've done something even better, those people can be dealt with, but you have to learn how.
Exactly. So I like to spend a few minutes talking about what you and I have gained from this program, this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking for myself, first of all, every time I join this program, I always ask myself, what am I going to talk about today? What do I want to talk about today? And I always had something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And that showed me, how much the work that I have done, the experiences that I have had, and I continue to have, the education I have received, and I continue to educate myself, my own psychotherapy and everything, have given me insight about so many things in life that I know before this profession I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And this insight has been about myself, about the world around me, about people that I know, people that I connect to. And, going through this process every week, at least once a week, it showed me that I have gained so much in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned so much by interacting with other people, by doing psychotherapy, by looking at the areas that for myself personally needed, improvement, needed change, there were places that, I wanted to hold on to. I didn't want to change that part of me. There have been areas that I realized, this is not working for me, and I want to change all of that. So I guess the past 2 years that I've been with KMET has been, for me, a process of growth just by attending these programs and offering you my own insight. And I want to really, say thank you for all of you collectively, whether you're KMET staff or whether you're a listener. Collectively, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to realize my own growth, and also to look at the areas that I needed to grow, and I put that on my list of to-do list for me to continue with this process. So the next time when I'm back to you, I can have more information, more knowledge, more experience, more insight to give you, to offer you, so that we both can benefit from each other.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I realized during the break that we owed a vote of appreciation, which we gave to Bill and to Jesse, but also Sean. We didn't mention Sean, and we want to thank you, Sean, because you've been a great assistance to
Absolutely.
us. You've been a pleasure to work with, and we could not have done this without you. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Both Jesse and Sean, each one of you, have your own way of, connecting and communicating. And it's been fun to get to know you both, really.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate all of your contribution to our program, and, helping us to stay on our toes, assisting us to when to break this, the conversation, and when to come back online. And without this guidance, we wouldn't have been able to have an organized show. That's for sure, to say the least.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I'm going to say what you said is that I've learned a lot in this show about myself,
Mm-hmm.
and also, it's really helped me to overcome my fear of public speaking.
Yes.
Which I had for a long, long time, and did a number of things. I went to Toastmasters. I did talks in front of Toastmasters. I did other kinds of public speaking, but I always had that pit in my stomach when I was doing it. And since we've been doing this, and we also did a podcast prior to coming to KMET, I've lost my fear of public speaking, which feels so good,
yes.
so wonderful to begin to trust myself that I can speak extemporaneously. I don't remember when we first did our first one, we had everything scripted.
Yes.
We wrote down like for an hour what we were going to talk about and how we were going to talk about it. We wrote down your part and my part, and it was sort of like doing acting, right? And now we just say, oh, what subject are we going to talk about? And we just talk about it.
Just talk about it. Yes. Yes.
It's wonderful.
It's just wonderful. You know, we look at other podcasts and we see that, you know, each one of them has, you know, their own flavor. Some have guests for the show. Some have, you know, just research about something. And I think, you know, I like the flavor that you and I have here. You know, we are talking, you know, without any formality, you know, and we're just talking from our own experiences that we have personally and professionally with our clients.
Right.
And I think what we have offered has been so real. Right? So real and what's the word? Unscripted.
Unscripted.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that's why, you know, at every show, when it ended, you know, at least myself, and I know this about you too, we walked away feeling good about the show. Right?
Yeah.
We never looked back to say, oh, I should have said that, or I shouldn't have said that. You know, oh my God, did I say it that way? Really? You know, the point is that however we provided the show gave us a good feeling.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I hope that that's been the same for our listeners.
We can only hope. And also, we've got just a couple of more minutes. I want to talk about why we have always ended the show the way we ended.
All you need is love.
All you need is love. Why do we end it that way? Well, because love, there's so many good definitions of love, but one of the simpler, easier definitions is that love is looking for the good. Looking for the good. Looking to see the positive.
Right.
Commenting on the positive. Appreciation, gratitude, kindness. Those are the things that make love an active verb.
Yes.
And when we look for the good, we will find it if we're really looking. Just as if we look for the negative or the bad, we will find that as well. So it's up to us. We do have free will. We do have the ability to choose. And when we look for the good, we bring that good into fruition. It becomes something that's more real. When we comment on it, when we discuss it, when we act from that place, we are bringing more love into the world. And it's my opinion that the two biggest feelings in a human being are love and fear. Fear gives rise to anger and sadness and other emotions, but the only thing really that can conquer fear is love. We try a lot of different things, and we certainly try addictions. Addictions, we're always trying different kinds of addictions to make ourselves feel good. But the only thing that really does it is that feeling of love, where we feel connected to other people, we feel accepted by other people, we accept other people. And we can look at the sameness because we're all much, much more the same than we are different.
Yes.
We're all actually unique individuals. Everything from our thumbprint to our DNA is unique. We all think a little bit differently. We all look certainly a little bit differently, But the bottom line is we're all humans,
Yes.
and we all go through life in the same way. We all come in, we all have positive things happen, we all have sad things happen, and then we all go out the same way. And when we can see ourselves as having more agreement in who we are than disagreement in over the different views that we have, then we will become a more loving species. And
Exactly.
that, to me, is the bottom line.
Exactly. I mean, after all, everything that we do and everything that we want, everything we ask for, we are looking for happiness. We're looking for togetherness. We're looking for love,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're looking to be loved, and we want to love other people. And some of us may choose a direction that they think is right, and it doesn't work for them. And but the reality is that if we look at our true self, that's where the first seed of love can show. If we take that and stay ourselves, stay our true self, the love grows inside of us, and that's the love that we can share with everybody.
Right. And one of the great philosophers of our time, philosophers and psychiatrists, he was a psychiatrist, recently deceased within the last 10 years, Dr. David Hawkins, said that in the end, it isn't what we do so much that matters as much as who we become.
Yes.
Who we become is what matters, because that is an energy that we bring to the world that continues throughout our lifetime, and I believe even after our lifetime.
Exactly.
That energy.
Yes. And then the energy, the loving energy, doesn't go anywhere.
No.
The loving energy continues to circle and continues to touch everybody, and it's the love that ultimately is our prime conscious, subconscious, and unconscious motivation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To be loved, to love somebody, and it is that the power, the actual power that created the world and continues to make the world exist.
Exactly. So just got notified, this is the end of our show. We wish you all much love, much happiness, and be kind. Be kind to yourself. Don't punish yourself. Don't beat yourself up. And of course, be kind to others. And so for the last time,
until we meet again, all you need
is love.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.